There are two different ways you can use processing. Processing supports what's known as static mode, which is just if you list functions one after the other, processing will run through each one and display those results. The other way you can use processing is known as active mode. Active mode requires that you group your code into what are known as methods. And methods are just that, groups of code that you can have run at specific times or specific number of times as your code runs. Methods exist across many different programming languages, but processing is special because it has two methods built in for you already. One of them is known as setup, and the other one is known as draw. And setup and draw are special because any code contained inside the setup method will happen just once at the start of the program as soon as you hit the run button, and any code contained within draw will happen in order over and over again about 60 times a second for as long as the program is running. When you create your method, the method name will turn bold blue. Void here, which is in green, just means that these methods are going to stand alone. They're not passing any information to any other methods or any other parts of the program. Then you have an open, close set of parentheses, no semicolon, but then just an open curly bracket and a closed curly bracket. And when I say the code inside of the method, I mean between these two curly brackets. So any functions I put between these two curly brackets will be in the setup method. The same thing for draw. Any methods I put inside between these two curly brackets will be in the draw method and happen over and over and over again. Once you start using active mode and use these methods, setup and draw, and there are other methods that are built into processing, and eventually you can even make your own methods to call code at specific times or specific number of times. But once you're using them, you can't put any functions outside of setup or draw. Everything must be contained within, except for, there's one notable exception, but no functions outside of setup or draw. So in terms of methods that go inside setup, size should always go inside setup. And to start out with, we're actually going to put background inside setup as well. Although background, as we'll see, can go either inside setup or inside draw. But to start out, we could put background here. If I run this code now, it looks just as the same as though I were using static mode. The real magic happens that because draw is happening over and over and over again, being called again and again about 60 times a second, once every 60th of a second, that if anything in here changes just a little bit, we can use it to create animation in the same way that you would create animation using a flip book. You are drawing something and then altering the drawing slightly and altering the drawing slightly each time draw loops through. So that's just getting this set up, and the next video will show how we can change images just a little bit in the draw method to animate objects.